Sophie just hid in a cucumber. She was grabbed by the flesh-eating giant. The flesh-eating giant opened its mouth to gnaw the cucumber. Fortunately, the good-hearted giant found in time. He jumped up to stop the flesh-eating giant. Good-hearted giant shouted that the cucumber was out of date. The flesh-eating giant threw away the cucumber. He lifted his foot and tried to crush the cucumber. Good-hearted giant gave the soda to the carnivorous giant. The carnivorous giant left satisfied. "You are a disgrace to the giant race." Good-hearted giant then places the cucumber on the table. He saw Sophie climb out safely. The good-hearted giant smiled. He picks Sophie up and opens the bucket for her to take a bath. Then good-hearted giant brought Sophie over to the fire to dry. He also found some change of clothes. The good-hearted giant laid out a nest in the tree hole and put books in it. He told Sophie to rest inside. Sophie saw the colorful bottles around her. She was amazed. So the good-hearted giant was a dream maker. He would go every night to capture beautiful dreams, and he would use a loudspeaker to blow the dreams to the sleeping children. But Sophie saw him this night. To prevent Sophie from revealing her secret, the good-hearted giant reached out his giant hand and grabbed Sophie back. He used all kinds of terrain to disguise himself along the way. He squatted on the car to avoid the car, and he disguised himself as a tree to avoid a woman. They flew across the plains, then stepped on boulders and crossed the mountains. The kind-hearted giant took Sophie directly to the land of giants. At Sophie's request, good-hearted giant agreed to take Sophie to Dream Maker with him. Outside the house, there were sleeping flesh-eating giants lying around. Good-hearted giant carefully stretched out his foot and passed over the giant's face. The giant just tried to sneeze. His nose was covered by the good-eyed giant. Good-hearted giant bends down to avoid a foot. He hooked up his purse and was about to leave, but a crow tried to chirp. The good-hearted giant reached out and made the crow to be quiet, but the giant was still woken up. The good-hearted giant tripped and fell straight to the ground. Sophie found the giant standing up. She was so scared that she started to run away. She slipped into a car and hid. After the goody-go-go-go was caught, the giant threw him out with force. Then the other giant caught him. The two giants played a game of ball tossing, but the giant felt that it was still not enough, so he picked up a small car from the side. He grabbed the good-hearted giant and went to the top of the mountain. The two giants wanted to play a game of bumper cars. One giant stepped on the car as skates. He rushed towards the truck, but Sophie was in the car. She saw the situation was not right and hit the steering wheel. The front of the car instantly turned around. The giant's legs are separated. The pain made him scream violently, caused a group of giants to laugh. At that moment, the sky was filled with dark clouds. The next second, it started to rain heavily. Because the giants were very afraid of water, they were so scared that they fled in panic. This giant held up a mini umbrella. The other one lifted a big tree, but was struck by lightning. The good-hearted giant seized the opportunity. He took Sophie with him and escaped. Then one of the giants found Sophie's blanket. They instantly smelled human. The giants found the good-hearted giant's house. They started looking around. The bottle with the dream was knocked off the floor. Sophie tried to keep the giants from finding her. She rushed to the wooden ladder. She first hid in the water storage tank. Then she climbed up the water cart to the lifting platform. Sophie finally ran to the wooden hole. The giant, with his keen sense of smell, he soon found Sophie's location. The moment of truth, the good-hearted giant swung a red-hot iron bar. He stabbed the giant right in the back. Then the good-eyed giant threatened with a bucket of water. After the giant saw the water, he was scared and ran away. At that moment, Sophie saw the portrait of Queen Victoria. She suddenly thought of a bold idea. Sophie asked the good-eyed giant to create a red nightmare. Then they secretly find the human Queen Victoria. The good-eye then uses a loudspeaker. He blows the nightmare into Queen Victoria's body. He made the queen dream that the missing children had been eaten by a flesh-eating giant. When Queen Victoria woke up, she saw in the newspaper that the missing children in her dream were real. Sophie took the opportunity to appear at the window. She told Queen Victoria about the giant. With Sophie's call, a giant appeared in front of Queen Victoria. The queen watched as the giant greeted her. Queen Victoria decides to invite him to dinner. The giant attends a human dinner party. The table looked like a skyscraper. Soldiers had to bring ladders to bring all kinds of food to the giant. The kind-hearted giant skewered 60 loaves of bread and added 80 fried eggs. This made him very happy to eat. To thank Queen Victoria for her hospitality, good-hearted giant shared his secret soda. This soda was so amazing that the bubbles were bubbling downwards. After everyone drank it, something magical happened. Queen Victoria believed the giant's words. She ordered her army to go to the land of giants in order to defeat the carnivorous giants. The good-hearted giant made a bottle of red nightmare. When the giants were taking a nap at noon the next day, Sophie sneaked to the center with the bottle in her arms. She was about to open the bottle, but the giant boss suddenly woke up. Sophie saw that the situation was not right and smashed the bottle on the ground. The nightmare immediately flew out into the giant's body. When the giants woke up, they all lost the ability to fight. The carnivorous giant slammed his fist into Sophie. The carnivorous carnivorous giant was stopped by the kind-hearted giant in time. Sophie took the opportunity to escape, but the good-hearted giant was caught. The giant raised his fist and was about to take the good-hearted giant. The helicopter suddenly appeared and directly tied the carnivorous giant's arm, and the helicopter tripped over the giant's legs and made him fall. Soldiers were parachuted down. After their brave fight, finally the carnivorous giants were all captured. The army used helicopters to throw the giants to a desolate island. The island was surrounded by a vast ocean. The flesh-eating giants could no longer harm humans. The army then dropped a large number of cucumber seeds. In the future, carnivorous giants can only eat vegetarian. At the end of the movie, the good-hearted giant will continue to work to bring dreams to more people. And Sophie was adopted by Queen Victoria. She lived a happy life from then on.